On today's episode for the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, we are covering the critical topic of data encryption on AWS. The exam will test you on two fundamental states of data: data at rest and data in transit. Data at rest is inactive data stored physically in any digital form, such as on an S3 bucket or an EBS volume. Data in transit is data actively moving from one location to another, such as across the internet or between different services. For data in transit, the primary method of protection is Transport Layer Security, or TLS, which you commonly see as HTTPS in your web browser. The exam will expect you to know that when data is moving, SSL/TLS is the protocol that secures it. For data at rest, AWS provides powerful services to manage the encryption keys, and the exam loves to test the difference between AWS Key Management Service, or KMS, and AWS CloudHSM. AWS KMS is a managed service that makes it easy to create and control the encryption keys used to encrypt your data. It's integrated with most AWS services, making it the go-to choice for general-purpose encryption. A common exam question will present a scenario requiring an audit trail of key usage. KMS is the answer here because it integrates with AWS CloudTrail. In contrast, AWS CloudHSM provides a dedicated, single-tenant hardware security module. The exam trap is to confuse these two. If a question mentions strict regulatory requirements or the need for a company to manage keys on a dedicated physical device that AWS cannot access, the answer is CloudHSM. Think of KMS as a managed multi-tenant service, and CloudHSM as a dedicated, more expensive option for high-compliance scenarios. Now, let's go deep into a heavily tested area: Amazon S3 server-side encryption options. There are three main types you must know. First is SSE-S3, where S3 manages the encryption keys for you. It uses the strong AES-256 algorithm and is the simplest option to implement. Since January 2023, this has become the default for all new objects uploaded to S3. Second is SSE-KMS, where encryption is handled by S3, but the keys are managed within AWS KMS. The key advantage, and a frequent exam topic, is that SSE-KMS provides an audit trail of when your keys were used and by whom, along with centralized control and key rotation. If you see a question about auditing key usage for S3 objects, think SSE-KMS. The third option is SSE-C, which stands for server-side encryption with customer-provided keys. With SSE-C, you manage the encryption keys yourself and must provide them with every single request to upload or download an object. AWS does not store these keys. The exam might trick you with a scenario where a company has a strict policy to never let a third party, including AWS, manage their keys. In that case, SSE-C is the correct choice. To keep these S3 options straight for the exam, use this mental shortcut: 3KC. 3 for SSE-S3, the simple AWS-managed default; K for SSE-KMS, where you get the K audit trail; and C for SSE-C, where the C customer carries the keys. Understanding the distinction between when data is moving versus when it is stored, and who is responsible for the keys, is fundamental to passing your AWS CCP exam. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.